What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to clarify my thoughts on Sly Cooper. I thought this would be an important kind of secondary video to make. This is probably the last video I'm making before I fly out to see my parents and take a few days off. And so here we go. You know, I want to make it clear kind of where I stand and what I said in most likely yesterday's video, the one where I said I don't believe that Sucker Punch is telling the truth. Now, again, when I'm recording this video, no leaker has spoken up. I thought, yeah, let me just say this anyway. This way, no matter what the leakers say, we can kind of talk about it no matter what. I said in that video, I don't believe Sucker Punch. I want to believe that Sly is real. And my reasoning was basically two different things. Number one, well, I want to believe it. Okay, that's a really big thing. Number two, you know, I guess an optimistic sense of I don't want these leakers, I guess, to be wrong. I think if they're wrong and they're this wrong, it's really pain is gonna come down on them. Now, to clarify what I was talking about and to kind of just make it more known, look, if it doesn't happen, if Sly Cooper doesn't get revealed and Sucker Punch is telling the truth and the leakers were either lying or their insider info was wrong, right? I mean, that's fine if that happened. Well, it's not fine. I would be extremely disappointed, right? I will be very upset that Sly Cooper doesn't return. Make no mistake about it. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't affect me. But, you know, am I going to threaten, attack, destroy people? No. I want to make that very, very clear. And, by the way, I will, accept it at some point. I'm not willing to accept it right now because I don't think we're done. If September comes and goes, that would be a real big blow to my idea that Sly could return. If the PlayStation Showcase is in September, it's Sly 1's 20th anniversary. If it's not there, okay, then I'll start to seriously believe it, and I'll tell you guys. So I just want to make that kind of known. It's like, well, you're in denial. I'll come around eventually, but let's talk about that, okay? And I'm not picking out anybody in particular, but I did get a lot of that in that video, right? That you're nuts, you're crazy, like you're just believing them to believe, you're in denial. It's not the first time, and there's history to prove me right in this case because I've been around for a long time. Go back and look at the Hogwarts Legacy videos titled at the time Harry Potter RPG or Harry Potter Open World RPG. I was covering that game for about 1.5 to 2 years before the game was announced at that PlayStation Showcase in September of 2020, okay? I was talking about that game for, now, not fully 2 years because the game wasn't shown till October of 2018. That was that leak. And then remember, there was a long period of time for about 1.5 years where people were like, well, it was fake. It wasn't real. There is no Harry Potter game. So the only reason I bring that up is really coupled with what I said yesterday in that developers lie. We get lied to all the time. We get things hidden from us all the time. And we get told that things aren't happening when they are happening. That happens almost on a daily basis. I don't really know why people just kind of ignore that. That happens on a daily basis in the gaming industry. So now, am I saying that leakers can't be wrong? No, leakers can be wrong. There can be wires crossed, all that stuff. But to to go all in, and I guess you could say, well, I am going all in on believing the leakers. But to say that I'm in denial is like, well, I've heard that before. I guess that's the biggest thing. I've heard that I am nuts before. Now, I'm not saying just because I was right for Hogwarts Legacy means I'll be right here. It just means, truly, here's what it means. I'm sticking with this until I feel it's run its course. I stuck with Skull and Bones for the 2-3 years that people thought that game was canceled, which internally it was shut down and restarted 2 to 3 times. So technically people were right, but I stuck with that game for years when people didn't believe in it. Now, I'm not saying Skull and Bones is going to be good. I think it'll probably be pretty average, but I stuck with it. Hogwarts Legacy, I talked about the Harry Potter RPG game for 1.5 years. People constantly told me, Alex, it's not happening. It happened. We talked about the Batman Arkham game, which actually was a real thing. It was canceled and it was turned into Gotham Knights, so that was also so I guess, again, I'm not saying I'm Mr. Right, all right? Please, for the love of God, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not Mr. Right. What I'm saying, though, is if I have a feeling about something, just in my personality, just in how I do things on my channel, I'm going to follow it through until I feel it's over. And I will be the one to make that decision because it's my channel. Does that make sense? So, again, if September comes and goes, you will hear me say, all right, I feel a lot less confident. But right now, again, Sucker Punch coming out and saying it means nothing to me. Of course, well, okay, it does mean something because I made a video on it. I'm talking about it a second time, right? It does mean something. But, does it impact my belief that Sly is or isn't happening. No, I still believe it's happening. That's it. That's what I mean. It doesn't have any impact on my thought process of Sly Cooper. I believe it's still coming, and I believe it, again, for all the reasons we talked about. We get lied to all the time. I keep bringing up the Ellie thing for all these people. Oh, gaming companies, they're so honest to us. Again, Naughty Dog lied point blank to people, said that Ellie was not playable in The Last of Us 1. Games consistently... Publishers and developers consistently tell us that games are, or most likely are not, right? Normally, you hear developers saying that things are not happening when they really are. That happens all the time. And again, a good example is my go-to for Hogwarts Legacy. Do you know how many times that was said to not be true, right? And how many denials we had of that game? Because no duh. In fact, I've talked to a developer, right, Troy. We've had the developer, one of the developers of Hogwarts, on the channel twice, and he said both times they didn't want that leak. That leak was not supposed to happen in 2018. It was way too early. So they didn't want to talk about it, and they weren't going to talk about it, obviously, until they were ready. So, these things happen, right? They're not going to just come out there and say, oh, yep, Sly Cooper's... That's the thing to me. I said that yesterday. I know that may get annoying. Sucker Punch is not going to come out and just say, yep, Sly's real. Yep, and we're not making it, somebody else's, but it's real. Why? Now, you could say, well, why did they bring up Sly and Infamous in the first place? That was an argument I saw in that video. That's a good argument, all right? That's the best argument. To my case, right, what I'm trying to say is, well, you're not going to come out and say that they are real. You would never do that. But the reverse is, well, you could have just kept your mouth shut, right? You didn't have to issue a statement. So I will give people 100% that argument. That is a very valid argument. And so maybe you can go down the line and say, yeah, it is to stop people from believing things that aren't real so they don't get disappointed down the line. That's me, right? Because I will be disappointed down the line. And I will say this, it won't be Sucker Punch's fault. But see, I think I'm a different kind of person because this message that Sucker Punch put out, basically, right? It's if this doesn't happen, if Sly isn't real, the people would get mad, I think, ideally, at the leakers, the people that spread the rumors. Sucker Punch has nothing, so I would give respect to, does that make sense? I'm not saying Sucker Punch is some evil, out there company. If it turns out to not be the case, Sucker Punch told the truth, and that's respectable. Now, here's the thing, but here's also the flip side that's also a positive. If they're lying, if Sly gets announced in September, I'll still think pretty highly of Sucker. Nothing actually changes in Sucker Punch because I bet you they would come out and be like, "Ha, we gotcha," or we had to throw, we had to throw you guys off the trail, something witty like that. Fine, again, really in no way does Sucker Punch lose. Does that make sense? I guess that could be a thing to clarify. I definitely want to make that known. I'm not opposed to Sly Cooper not being real, that possibility. I think it's definitely a possibility, and if it is, my frustration, not threats, not harassment, not any of that garbage, my, upsetness, me being upset, it goes to the leakers. It goes to whoever is telling Special Nick, right, Nick Baker. It's whoever tells him that Sly was real for the last year. That person should be in trouble in some way. Account NGT, he would look a whole lot more sketchy, right, because he kind of jumped on later. Account NGT jumped on Sly later than Special Nick. But he's been kind of very vocal on it. He would look really bad. Special Nick would look really bad. I mean, there are people that would look really bad in this situation, and that's fine if that happens. I don't care. I'll be the first one to say it, whatever. But just because Sucker Punch issues a statement, I'm not going to change my mind right now. If again, you can come back to me at the end of September if there is a showcase, if there's not a showcase, whatever. You can come back and you can tell me that I was wrong or I was right or whatever. Let's not forget the Sly Cooper Funko. Let's not forget the Sly Cooper promotional stuff for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Let's not forget the Sly Cooper Easter egg in the PlayStation Showcase that was last September when they did the chess match advertisement and Sly was in that. Let's just please, okay, while we're all getting very mad at me, let's not forget that those three things are kind of important. I still think, to my case, that Sly is still happening. Let me know what you think. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and we'll see where this story goes.